Friends, welcome to Salesforce CRM Analytics video session 180. So basically this video will be, just to help you to revise the complete compatible functionalities, like all the functionalities which are present under compatible, we will just go through one by one. So, we learned about rank within group, we learned about period over period. Okay. We learned about the time series and there are many other functions as well. Okay. So we will just have a complete walkthrough of whatever functions we learn, and whatever applications is there for all of that, we can just go through that. Okay, I will share you a bit of link as well, through which which will help you to revise also properly all the terms. Okay, so firstly what I will do is I will quickly open all the lens which we have created till now, and we will go through one by one. Okay, uh, so let me go to browse section, let me go to lens. Firstly, let me open the all the functions which we have learned till now. So basically we have learned about the, okay, let me do one thing, let me just duplicate this tab, and what I will do is basically through the data set I will just check one by one what were the functions which were present in order wise. Okay, let me put that formula. So at first we have the sliding window. So let me open the sliding window first. Then we have something called as percentage of group. Let me open the percentage of group as well. Then we have something called rank within group. Okay. I think we learned it in a different manner in this way. So let me open that. So under rank, you have the rank function. Okay. You have the dense rank function. You have the cumulative function, as well as you have the row number. Okay. And then you have period over period, change from previous. Okay. So let me open the period over period and change from previous. Okay. So we learned about both of them, period over period, and so let me do one thing. Let me open over here change from previous. Okay. So that's the thing, and maybe in the next window what I can do is I can open for you the other parts of it, that is the period over period and time series. Okay, let me duplicate this tab. So we have finally the period over period. Okay, running total also I think I can bring it over here. So let me bring the running total at least over here. Yeah, and just to ensure we have sufficient spaces, so I will just open the other parts over here. Okay, so you have the period over period and time series. So I will open the period over here and month over here, month over month. And finally, we have something called as the uh, time series. Okay. Now, one of the articles which you should definitely refer is, on the Google, if you just search with this compatible functions, okay, just search with compatible function with Einstein Analytics. There's a beautiful article. It's a bit old article, but definitely it's worth of all the information which you see. Okay, so there's something, an article by Simply SFDC, which is Einstein Analytics compatible functions. Okay, so this is one such article where things have been explained in very simplistic terms in a very simple manner, and this will help you to understand the basics of it. Okay, something which is written in the info section as well, right? And we walk through the info section whenever we learned all these functionalities, but you can refer this as well to understand a bit more in a detailed documented manner. Okay, so for example, you have this sliding window, right? So they have actually mentioned over here. So what this sliding window does is basically it applies aggregate row with respect to configured range of rows. Okay, so something which we have seen over here. Okay, so basically you want to go for main or you want to go for max, like however you want to go it. So example, if I just click on edit discount, so it's like basically in the configurable number of rows, whether you want to see the mean, okay, whether you want to see the max. Okay, so that is something which you see mentioned over here, what function it is, okay, for which is your start to which is your end row, and how the reset group happens. So we also walk through all the reset groups. So again, I'm just not. So if you edit this, you will get to know it once again, but I'm not editing it. Okay. uh, you can just watch that sliding window video as well if needed. And similarly, if you see for the next one, okay, so they have explained in a proper manner like how this happens. So for example, we are selecting the start and end, okay, how it will compare both of them when it is like 1 to 0, okay, when it is minus, we compare the previous one as well, okay. So that's how it's being shared over here, and you can just walk through it, and that's the whole thing about this one, okay. Then you have the percentage of group. So it calculates the percentage of each group of its total or its grand total. So how many number of rows you have, based on that, it will show you the percentage. Okay. So that's about this one. So similarly, we also have done that part, right? Where we have taken the percentage, like complete row, and whatever this percentage was based upon this number of rows which comes up in the lens. Okay. There might be many other rows, but however number of rows comes up in this particular data set, those many rows will show up that percentage. Okay. So that is what they have mentioned over here as well. This is same as standard. You need to have minimum two groupings to apply reset group. So yeah, of course, two groupings is needed to apply the reset group. Okay. Then you have something called as a rank within group. So there are four functions as they mentioned: rank, density, cumulative, and row number. It's properly the definitions are also written. Repeat ranks when the value is same and skips. That is something which you have looked as well. Same as rank but doesn't skip. Okay. So if you see the rank and dense rank, so I think there was one value which was repeated. I guess that is, yeah, if you see the 36 that is media analysis and value proposition. Okay, that's how. So you will have the same rank that will be there in rank and dense rank, but after that what happens, it will skip the next number. Okay, so that is something which is written properly over here. Repeats rank when the value is same and skips as many on the next non-match. Okay, that's the thing. So whenever there's a non-match, it will skip that number. Okay, same as rank but doesn't skip values. Okay, so something, what happened to this one? Okay, cool. So something which you see over here on the dense rank. Okay. So again, here you have the 36 and 36 like 4, 4, but the next number is 5, which is not get skipped. Okay. So something properly written. Cumulative distribution, I made you understand how that cumulative distribution is done. Fine. So this is where the whole cumulative distribution is. And finally, we have the row number. So basically with the row number, we get to understand. It's more like rank kind of a basis, but it's just that if the numbers are same, it will automatically map certain numbers. Okay. So that is something they have mentioned over essence number incremented by 1 for every row in the reset group. Okay. So yeah, that is the whole thing about this one. You have to read it a bit more, maybe in a detailed manner to understand the meaning of it. But yeah, this is something I've already walked through. It's just that you can use this article to understand the theory part and also check my videos as well. Now, period over period. So this must be grouped by a date field. Okay, so here we have the period. A date field is definitely required over here, and you can calculate as percentage change or unit change. Okay, and that's what the whole complete formula is mentioned. How this will look. Of course, we will walk through a bit when we go for the SQL maybe. But this is the formula, the way it looks over there. I mean, if you see this lens also, this is how it will look like as well over here. Fine. And yeah, that is it. Peer group do not offer reset group. So this is one such place where you will not have the reset group. Of course, in everywhere else you will have the reset group, but this is one such where the reset group won't be present. Okay. Then you have the change from previous. Okay. So it's basically the function is similar to period over period, but so the grouping by date is not required. So in period over period, the grouping by date is definitely required. For example, here I have the period over period and month over month, but I definitely need the date part. It can be anything. In my case, it's closed date, but you can go for any other date as well. Okay. But here, when it comes to the change from previous, it's not necessary. For example, I've done specifically for stage. I can also do for date, but specifically I've done for stage as well over here. So basically, the function is similar, but you do not need to group by date. Okay. So that's the thing. Again, you can do it by percentage change or unit change, and that's the way it is done. Okay, here of course they have pasted the screenshot related to that, but again I've shown you how you can do for stage as well, and you can just go for that. About that is similar, very similar to the way, but change from previous can implement to any grouping, not just date over period, and that is an example which I have showed you. I have not taken date. Okay. Then you have the running total, which calculates the value of the current row summed over all the previous rows. So order with the previous rows, you shall just sum it over. So as you can see over here, so that's what this running total is all about, where it's like the summation, like this plus this, and this is the complete way it continues. Okay, so yeah, that is about this. That is about the whole thing related to compatible. An amazing article, definitely worth reading, definitely worth going through one by one. And again, you can always utilize this info function as well. Okay, so whenever I was making any query, you must have seen I was always using the info articles. So those info articles also you can read. For example, if I just go for this one and let's say randomly I'm selecting just anything, let's say stage as of now, okay. And if I go to the RAT formula, so yeah, whenever you're utilizing some functions, okay, you can always read the info button as well, okay. So yeah, it's just that you have to hover over here and ensure that you read it properly, or you can copy this whole thing and paste in your notepad and go through it as well. But yeah, that's something which they have written over here as well, okay. So that's the thing about this one. That is the whole thing about this compatible functionalities. So you have the sliding window, okay. Remember that, fine. Sliding window is like any kind of aggregate, sum, average, max, mean, whatever kind of aggregate, and it will be in a configurable number of rows. You have to just go for the start and end of it, okay. And then something you have called as the percentage of group, like here definitely, like whatever number of rows are there, based on that some kind of percentage will come up. Then rank within group, so what kind of rank will be assigned? There are four sub functions over here: ranks, dense rank, cumulative distribute rank, and row number, okay. And then you have the period over period, which calculates names of percentages or unit change, and it has to be applied on dates. And then you have something from change from period, similar to period over period, but you can take any other groupings other than date as well, okay. And then you have the running total. Now finally we have something called as the time series as well, right? The time series function is over here. So for the time series, what I would suggest you is like, to understand this time series, you can go for the Salesforce article. So here you can actually write something like time series, okay. You can write something like time series functionality in Salesforce CRM Analytics. You can just type in Google this part, sorry, Salesforce CRM Analytics. And here, like here you have this article, okay. So you can definitely go for this one. Yeah, I think that is one of the article which you can definitely go through it. So you can actually read this complete article of time series. Of course, when we will move to the SQL section, there will be one part where I'll be helping you to understand how that time series, or not about time series, any kind of functionality, how it works in the back end, okay. So for example, you have this sliding window. So this is the query mode, this is the SQL mode. Of course, we will walk through it in a very structured and in a very basic manner, in a step-by-step manner. But basically, like how this whole thing comes up in SQL and how we can modify something in SQL in certain stages, okay, that are part we can actually walk through. So you can just read this whole thing about the time series, like how this uses existing point to predict future data points, okay. The time must follow projection. So you can just read this as of now. Maybe you shouldn't worry much about the syntax when you didn't go through the time series, okay. But you can just go through whatever we have learned. For example, we know what is that ignore last, okay. Then we know what is that partition, fine. The model which they go, okay. So the seasonality, the optional part, the model which they go for. So what the seasonality and all means, okay. So yeah, I'm not saying you will understand this whole article if you read it, but at least you can just ensure you walk through it, and you will be able to understand, fine. So even the model, okay. So basically, when we're going for additive or multiplicative, I didn't explain you the complete concept behind it, but if you are really interested to know like how exactly that model is happening, how certain statistics are involved, okay, then you can actually try to understand more of this trend, like what's that Hall's linear trend, or Win Hall Winter's method, okay, or Hall's linear trend or Hall's winter method is applied on that multiplicative. You can just walk through step by step and try to understand, maybe do your own research on this time series part. So yeah, that was all about the complete revision of the computable functionalities. That's it about this one. And yeah, let's meet very soon in our next video. Thank you.